Major changes are happening at one of my favorite resorts in Riviera Maya, Mexico, and I need to tell you about it before you book there. Last year in 2025, I visited Bahia Principe Akumal and I fell in love with the resort. I made videos telling you why you should go there, and I plan to go back there myself this year. But since my visit, things have changed. Bahia has entered into partnership with Hyatt, and the customer experience is not the same. So many of the things that made the resort so special have either ended or will be ending soon. So let's talk about whether this resort is still worth it. So I went to this Bahia in April of 2025 and had an incredible solo time there. I stayed in one of the renovated junior suites that was just beautiful. I love the resort because it was beachfront. It really had that luxurious feel to it. The grounds were beautiful and so jungle-like. The staff were incredible. It was just perfect. I felt like I could exhale for the first time in a long time. Additionally, I love that staying at Akumal meant that you could visit all of the resorts in the complex, including Sian Khan, which I'll talk about later is a very special place. But I've definitely put the brakes on my plans to revisit since this Hyatt takeover, which officially started in March of this year, March of 2026, because the reports coming out of there are not so good. Some changes have already gone into effect. Major ones will go into effect on November 1st. So let's get into some of the changes that have really upset loyal customers of this Bahia complex. The first change gives context to everything else that we'll talk about. As of November 1st, 2026, Bahia Principe Akumal will become a family-friendly resort. The adults-only sections will be removed and it will be focused particularly on families. And there's a name change to reflect this. Under the new Bahia branding, basically any of these family-friendly resorts are going to be labeled with Explore. So in the name of the resort, we've dropped luxury, so it's no longer Bahia Principe Luxury, it's Bahia Principe Explore Akumal. That is the real indication that this resort is turning into a family-friendly focus. The second change that has really upset people is the changes to food and drinks and the dining policies. When I stayed at Akumal last year, a la carte dinners were unlimited, and of course this is a huge perk of the resort. If you eat buffet food for breakfast and lunch, you surely don't want to eat it for dinner as well. So having the ability to book a la carte or specialty restaurants every night was a real benefit and perk of staying at Akumal. But beginning November 1st, 2026, guests will be limited to 3 a la carte dinners per week. So per 7 days, you are going to get 3 a la carte dinners. The rest of the days, the rest of the evenings, you will have to eat at the buffet. That means if you're there for a week, you are going to be eating at the buffet quite a bit. Some days you're going to be eating there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. While the food at Akumal was pretty good, better than most buffets I've ever had, I would still say that is really hard to do. And it's made worse because there's no longer access to Sian Khan, which has the best food in the complex. At least you could get away with eating really elevated buffet food. That access is gone, and I will talk more about that in a second. Already in effect is the reduction to 24-hour food services. So room service is no longer 24 hours. It's now from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Still pretty extensive hours, but if you are hungry in the middle of the night, you no longer can order your room service. Also, Cenote, the 24-hour snack bar, is no longer 24 hours. It's open from 10 o'clock to 1 a.m. To top off the dining changes, the standard drink package that everyone gets will no longer include international premium brands. It will only include local drinks. In some of the Facebook groups, people are saying that currently they can only find local liquor brands at the resorts. So that means this change is already well underway. You will not be able to get international liquor brands without paying for a premium drink, or in some cases, it's just not available at all. 3, as a part of this move to a family-focused resort, Akumal guests will no longer have access to Sian Khan's restaurants or facilities. This is actually one of the biggest blows for me of all of the changes. The food at Sian Khan was just top tier, elevated. Every morning I would get the trolley from Akumal and take it over to Sian Khan for their breakfast, which was just such a delight. It felt like a treat to eat breakfast or any meal over there. The resort is adults only. It's very tranquil. So on those days where I didn't want all the busyness of Akumal, I would just take the trolley over to Sian Khan, eat some good food, sit around a quiet pool, and just read or think or whatever. It was just like this perfect little small escape. It was almost the point of booking Akumal where you get the best of both worlds. The renovated rooms of Akumal, since the rooms at Sian Khan really do need to be updated, but then the ability to go over to Sian Khan and enjoy some of the more elevated and mature things of life. During this transition period leading up to November 1st, when many of those more dramatic changes happen, and then November 30th, when the end of the renovations are due there at Akumal, this transition period has been pretty rough for guests who are staying there currently. For example, just last week, guests found out that until further notice, they cannot use the app to make dinner reservations or go to the front desk, which was another technique that people would do. It is a first come, first served basis. As you can imagine, that means it is pretty chaotic at dinner time. This seems like it's a temporary measure, but that's what's happening on the ground right now. I suspect that this is just happening as they transition everyone over to the Hyatt app. But in the meantime, people that are there right now are not having the best experience getting those a la carte dinners. Also, the number of restaurants open has been reduced, and they post the list every day of what's open and what's not. One thing that's really upset Akumal guests is that Koba and Tulum guests are being allowed to come in and eat at the buffet at Akumal. Now, this might seem like a minor thing, but the whole point of Akumal, like I've kind of hinted at, is that it was a luxury experience, and the prices reflect this luxury experience. So when you have more people coming in from the neighboring resorts to eat at buffet, it just means that it's busier. It means you have to wait longer for food. You just don't get the same kind of service because there are just more people around. So guests are really unhappy that for some reason the hotel is not enforcing the wristband, the tiered wristband policy at the moment, and everyone's coming in to eat at the Akumal buffet. For returning guests, many have reported in the Facebook groups that service has gone down as there are staffing shortages. So there is a lot going on at the resort during this transition period. So on the one hand, while I'm inclined to go before all of these changes happen November 1st, hearing how rough this transition period has been is not very appealing. If you go now, you should also be aware that they are doing renovations to 252 rooms at the moment. This is like a major renovation moment for Akumal. It's basically the last push. When I was there, they were also doing renovations, although the renovations should not affect you in any way. When I was there, I didn't even hear or see where the renovations were taking place. It's totally separated from most guests, but it is something that you should be aware of, and one of the buffets is actually closed because of the renovations. Of course, there are some upsides to this partnership. If you were a Hyatt customer before and you had those points, this is a great opportunity for you to see an expanded brand, Bahia. So this can be great for certain people. Of course, if you were a loyal Bahia customer and had accumulated points and statuses over the years, as you know, of course, that's been completely wiped out as of March. So that's unfortunate. I'm sure much of the renovations and visual improvements that we're gonna see are due to this partnership. So it will be great for certain aspects of the resort to be updated. The renovated Akumal rooms already look fantastic. I stayed in one last year. So with the rest of these rooms being updated, I know that's gonna be a really great addition to this resort. The verdict, am I going back here? Well, the truth is Bahia Principe Akumal is still a beautiful resort, set in a beautiful complex with amazing staff. That's never been a question. It is going through some operational changes right now, and the hope is that one day it will get back to its new normal and something that people really love again. But the truth is, if I'm looking for an all-inclusive resort in Mexico in the next 12 to 18 months, I will be skipping Bahia. There's just too much happening at the resort for me to go there. And I think the resort is gonna need time to iron out all of these changes and to get things operating smoothly again. For my next Mexico beach escape, I'm thinking about booking at Grand Palladium or TRS Yucatan hotels. That's a complex that's really caught my eye, and I think I will give them a try next. Tell me in the comments, are you booking Akumal with all of these changes? I know this news hits differently for loyal guests who have known the existing or the previous Bahia version versus people who are booking now. So let me know, are you still booking Akumal? Is it still appealing to you? If not, what is your go-to Mexican resort? What's your substitute for Bahia? If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.